going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1066 of Flow Wrestling Radio Live. I am not Christian Piles. My name is JD Raider. I'm your host today because Christian is out traveling across this country trying to get back to Texas. I am joined on this very lovely Thursday by my friend Andrew Spencer Spay and his friend Skeleton Man here. What do we
got? That's Vic Rattlehead. He says, "What's up?"
What's up, Vic Rattlehead?
Season.
Spooky season. It is October now. To my left, we've got Tyler Meisinger.
I have a spooky season question for you. I just watched a movie last night. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
It's a children's movie.
Okay, there you go.
I prefer Signs.
And to my left, that is David Bray, the man, the myth, the legend, repping the Lehigh Mountain Hawk headgear, who did just receive the axe from our favorite Bo Bachelor.
Yeah. You know what? It comes for us all at some point.
The Reaper and Bo Bassett school list.
That's right.
My favorite school didn't even make it on, Nebraska Kearney.
Darn.
I'm repping today with the Tervel shirt.
Love it.
Very stylish.
We've got a fun show on tap for everyone today. We're talking a little NCAA locations, previewing 184 pounds. Another team on tap for you, so maybe a little would you rather, a little fun game, and some questions at the end of the show. But first and foremost, probably the biggest news that came out yesterday was the NCAA announcing their newest championship locations. And for 2027, they're headed to St. Louis. But the big news I think a lot of people are talking about is 2028 because they've been in St. Louis a bunch of times. I actually looked it up. This will be the 9th time since 2000 that St. Louis has hosted.
9 times.
But Minnesota, the first time ever, Minneapolis, and it's going to be in U.S. Bank Stadium where the Vikings play. Huge football stadium. This is where NCAAs were supposed to be in 2020 before it was canceled. Yep, R.I.P. Tyler. But they're headed back in 2028. How do we feel about the big football stadium format for hosting NCAAs?
Well, I'll start off by saying I think it's an awesome idea, and it's basically one major premise. I think the biggest upshot to this whole thing is that more people will have access to the NCAA championships, and I think that is the greatest good being served here is people having affordable. The tickets are not going to be sold out. They're going to have room for 60,000 people plus. And so if you want to experience the NCAA championships, which is an experience, you're not there so much to get up close and personal to everybody. You're there to be around a bunch of other wrestling fans, more wrestling fans than almost anyone's ever been around. It's hard to find a place where that many wrestling fans will all be in one place at one time. It's a rare thing. And so now more people are going to enjoy that. And I think that is awesome. I think everybody should be pumped for it. And it's not without drawbacks. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. You will be further away from the action. You will have a harder time seeing what's happening on the mat. But that pales in comparison to having 30,000 more, 40,000 more people at an NCAA championship.
Yeah. When you go to NCAAs now, you're not going for the best seat in the house.
Yeah, go to CKLV for that. If you want to get up close and personal.
Watch it at home.
Or watch it at home. Yeah, ESPN does a great job. I mean, the credit where credit is due. They have every mat available. You can go on ESPN Plus or they even put it on.
And obviously, pull up the watch party from www.flowwrestling.org.
Pull up the watch. You have your second screen experience to make it great for watching at home. And you watch every match. And then you could go back and rewind it. They got that function in there. So if you want to see every move that everyone does or follow your specific team or player or wrestler, you have ESPN for that. But if you want to go have an experience, you do that at NCAAs because having been to, since 2017, 5 NCAAs and sitting not down low on the press row, but in the very top of the press box.
You're a nosebleed man.
You the can't see without binoculars
blogs
now.
from the nosebleeds.
Yeah. You follow every match, but you're following it on your computer at the same time. At least I am when I'm up there on press row. So you will still need your binoculars unless you're in the first 40 rows on the lower bowl or, you're not way on the mezzanine or the top deck. You need your binoculars already. So it's, again, I'm not saying perfect viewing experience. Everyone is going to be thrilled by, you know, traveling there and whatever. It's not going to be for everyone, but for those folks that want to be up close and personal and they're not going to get that experience at Minneapolis, you got ESPN for you.
And I also think it's something at least worth a shot, right?
Yeah.
For NCAA to try and see how it goes.
Every NCAAs, everybody complains that it's not at a bigger arena. Not everybody. You hear plenty of complaints about, well, this arena is this, it's too small, the location isn't right, I couldn't get tickets, you know, I guess I'm not going this year, that type of stuff. The NCAA is just price gouging. All of that's going to happen no matter what, or, you know, something like that is going to happen no matter what. At least here you say, okay, you know, we're in a bigger bowl, you know, you're further away. I don't know if we want to bring up the...
Yeah, we can pull up the picture.
This is what's got a lot of people not too hype about.
Yeah, this is from, if you're just listening on Apple or Spotify, go to our YouTube, subscribe. But this photo was released from the NCAA, and even if you're a pro football stadium, this is a tough visual.
Yeah, the way that there's nothing else on the mat, on the ground floor, and it's like all black with just the tiny little mats. It looks kind of absurd. It doesn't look like a main attraction, but there's going to be tables, there's going to be people, refs and wrestlers and coaches walking around. They're going to have more stuff there, and if you can't see much, they're going to have the big screens. That it's just like watching other sporting events in a football stadium.
You can't see where the football is at.
Yeah,
right?
and yeah, people say it's different, it's this, it's like, yeah, but they have boxing and UFC and WWE. I mean, you have to sit far away. It's there for an experience. So anyway, I'm not trying to convince anyone that they have to go and enjoy it. I'm not trying to say, like, this is perfect, this is the absolute best thing it should be every time. But for once in a lifetime, or forever, the fact that we've never done it in a football stadium, just have it. There will be plenty of people that will go and enjoy it. And if you don't want to do it, you have your option at home.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many fans actually do show up. I think most of the arenas NCAA goes to are 20-something thousand, 30-something thousand fan arenas, and they're pretty much always sold out. And US Bank Stadium is, I think they said for football games, 66,000, but it can get up to 70-some thousand for special events like concerts and whatnot. So,
yeah, one of the difficult things is that, you know, the tournament has kind of outgrown those hockey arenas. So you need lots of floor space because you have 8 mats and all that, and then you can sell out 15 to 20,000 person arenas. So now they're full, but there's nothing in the 20 to 30,000. That kind of arena just doesn't exist in North America, or pretty much anywhere as far as I know. Basketball and hockey arenas are all max out at around like the low 20s. So what's up from there? You know, where do you go from there? You could have baseball stadiums. Some of them are in 30 to 40s, but you're going to be just as far away as this football stadium.
right.
So the next step are the football stadiums that, you know, are domed, usually a little bit smaller. They're not the big, college stadiums that are like 100,000 person plus. It's in the 60s, and it's climate controlled, and it has all the modern amenities, and the bathrooms and the concession stands are all going to be top notch and like best in class, best in the world. So you're going to have some of the best facilities. The thing cost over $1 billion to make, and it's going to hold a wrestling event.
A Billy?
Over $1 billion.
B Club.
So you're going to an event that is part of the Stadium B Club. Not bad. Not bad.
I do think it's worth pointing out along those same lines. These stadiums are meant to create a good viewing experience for people that are in the nosebleeds. There's screens everywhere, like it's big jumbotron. So there are going to be some good things. I am going to be interested in the decisions that the NCAA is going to make about the layout and where are the mats. I mean, the visual that we've looked at or that we've seen, they do look like more spread out than they need to be. And I don't know. I don't love that. And just in terms of, we were talking about in the office, but when you're trying to watch a wrestling tournament, you're accustomed to the mats being right next to each other, and you're that's what you're used to. You're used to, being able to keep an eye on a couple of matches at once. And obviously you can't watch everything super in depth, but it's easy to like bounce from mat to mat when, if they're as spread out as they are in the visual. It's, I think, going to be a little bit more challenging, and it'll be interesting just to see how they use the jumbotron, how they, are switching between mats. Are they going to have like some kind of a multi-mat experience in venue on the screen that, that you can look at? I don't know. And then also, how do they prioritize which tickets get sold first, and strategically putting people where are they going to sit? I think that'll matter too. Are they mostly interested in selling the central part of the stadium? Are they going to move it to one end zone or another? They've got a lot of decisions to make, and I think so those decisions are going to really have a big impact on the in-venue experience. If it's 35,000 fans all spread out throughout a 100,000 seat arena, I think it's going to look pretty dumb. But if they do it right, and if they concentrate it well, I think it could be very, very cool.
Yeah, I guess like ultimate disaster, or like if this could actually go wrong, is if they sell less than a normal sized arena just because people stay away, and then the visuals will be pretty depressing without a lot of people in the lower bowl. I got faith in the people of Minnesota that they'll come out in force, and they'll probably have cheaper tickets.
You gotta have faith.
Gotta have faith.
Mm-hmm. I have a question.
Kozak in the chat. So I'll bring this up, and then I want to hear your question. He says if we get 50 to 60K, it's a win. Anything under 40K is going to be disappointing.
Kozak's putting the line at 40.
That's what Kozak says.
I still think getting in the B club for your stadium, that's worth a 40K.
As long as we're above, you're saying 20 though. You're saying that we need to fill up what we would have.
If you don't, yeah. In my mind, the only disaster is if we sell less. If the NCAA and the event sponsors sell less than like 20,000, because that would be what a hockey arena would have.
I was not privy to the numbers at the time, but in 2020, do you guys remember hearing how many people were going to be there?
I think I remember hearing like 40, 45, something like that.
So not surpassing expectations, Kozak's expectations, but not below them.
I think I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember hearing anything. Mostly it was just people saying like you're not going to be able to see anything, and having been in the nosebleeds many years, you already can't. Like you're
there for the noise.
We were in Detroit, it's another huge hockey arena, but we were in this like gondola at the very top, like above the top row, so the further away than anyone's seats, and you could, whatever your seats are going to be here are going to be just as far away as.
I think the people complaining are just the rich people, the money bags that can afford the best seats in the house. They're not like you.
Well, I don't think the people complaining, the money bags, aren't going on Twitter to say anything. People,
I don't know, dude.
Those people.
I think all the people on Twitter are B Club at least.
They're gonna rent the skybox and the luxury boxes, and you're gonna have the visuals, the audio. You're gonna have Jason Bryant and Brian Hazard pumped through the entire arena. You'll hear those golden pipes. One on the line to the bathroom, like as
Jason, how many turns from your home to get to US Bank?
I wonder. It might be more turns than it is to get to the Fargo Dome.
I'm guessing it is.
Yeah, because we're in single digits for Fargo.
Natural Athlete Wrestling Club in the YouTube chat, which great RTC. What about this wild idea? He says holding D2 and D3 side by side with D1 in the Viking Stadium would be cool. That'd be crazy. You sell D2, D3, put them on the end zones. Those tickets, maybe they're a little bit reduced price. Put D1 in the middle. I don't think it's going to happen. That'd be pretty cool though.
Be interesting.
That's too much.
Too rich.
I can't watch all that. I mean, 8 mats is hard enough to keep track of as it is.
Well, you're not.
You wouldn't be. You'd have basically three events happening simultaneously.
And you could just follow.
I know, but I would want to watch all of them.
How many D2?
They also don't participate on the same weekend.
Yeah, but how many D2 and D3 tournaments do you watch now?
Trust me, he watches. We at PIAAs. I don't want
Not every match.
You look up the results.
No, I don't. I don't want
I tune in.
I don't want to bring up a painful memory for JD, but at PIAAs a couple years ago, after the PIAA finals, we're out to eat. JD's got those D2 finals up on the phone because his Lopers they were in position to win.
In position too.
And they lost the last match.
And then what position were they in?
They got second. They lost the very last match. But this is a D2 man. He watches it through and through.
All right.
True.
Well, you're going to have to choose.
I'll have to choose
this imaginary scenario.
Yeah. Pick one.
He's like, I'm moving on.
What's the best layout, do you think? Like fans in the middle, or like horseshoe, or just completely spread out?
So
Try and pack the lower bowl, nobody up top.
I do remember in 2020 they were saying they're going to do all lower bowl. They weren't going to move it in to like an end zone and then put the temporary seats up on one side. And they based that on just flying a drone around the stadium and saying like, okay, what's like the
View.
ideal setup. So I think they'll do that and then worry about the upper deck. You know, if they only sell the lower, they'll probably start with the lower bowl and then move to the next.
There's just like 4 fans in the upper deck.
Yeah, but you got the whole place to yourself. They might not even open it, depending on how it goes. Yeah, so I could see Bray's looking up the Hawkeyes had their grapple on the gridiron.
Yeah, they did the end zone.
Right.
One end zone impacted on from like the 40, 50-yard line.
So that got them, what, 42 thou.
Yeah. If you think about this image, that was pretty cool. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
And like probably the rest of the stadium looked a little odd, but you don't put that on TV. You don't put that on screen. But if you're looking at this, the way that the mats are laid out on the image that we looked at before, I think the mats are like sized too small.
Right.
Because it looks in that image like you could put 4 mats from
You could put
sideline to
5.
sideline.
Yeah,
But that's just not going to be the case. Like I think in this, it looks like you could go two mats wide. Although they have they have extra space around the edge of the mat that is not actual wrestling mat space where the teams are sitting and things like that. But I don't know. Maybe you could, if you go end zone, maybe that's the way. I don't know.
Now, ask those people up in the very last row in Kinnick if they regret going to it. Obviously, you can see here they didn't have a great view.
But they loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And they're further away at the top of that because there's only one bowl there. There's no like mezzanine or upper deck. If you're at the very back there, you're further away than if you're on the second row, moved in on a stadium like US Bank there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're that bottom row goes back further, so you have worse seats if you're at the top row or in the top area there behind the the pedestrian behind the exits than you would be in a mezzanine that is moved forward.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all in agreement.
Yep.
We're going to Minneapolis. We're going to have a great time.
Hell yeah.
We're all going to have fun.
And the press row is going to be further away than all of you. So
It's true.
And I'm going to cross my fingers that a global pandemic does not ruin my chances of going there again.
Wash your hands. Just a little extra hand washing, goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
what's the chat say about football stadiums hosting?
We got a lot of people that are somewhat concerned about how much extra wrestling will be happening between fans in the parking lot because of more fans. But also some people are kind of looking forward to that. So I think a lot of these guys, they're ready to throw down. No, people are generally excited. They like it. We got predictions about how many people are going to be. The Sways says 55K. So
I like that.
We'll see.
55 burgers, 55 fries.
Yep.
55K would be a huge number.
And for the people that are complaining about being too far away, Chuz in the chat, he's going to bring his hunting binoculars.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You could bring your hunting binoculars. You could detach your scope from your hunting rifle. Bring that.
You get scoped
You don't have
up.
to detach it.
I mean, you probably
Bring a telescope
yeah.
and get real.
bring a telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, people are into it. They're going to do it.
Great.
Let's do it, guys. Let's stay positive about these NCAAs. It's the best wrestling event. I mean, the environment is better than the Worlds. I couldn't compare it to the Olympics. I think that's just like a different type of vibe. Mm-hmm. But
Similar.
yeah, there's nowhere where you bring that many wrestling fans all in one place and like going to lunch or just walking around the downtown because it's a downtown football stadium, which is kind of rare. It'll be cold, but I think going out in Minneapolis, seeing a place with 50,000 plus wrestling people, it's going to be a sight. It's going to be fun.
Bless you,
Excuse me.
JD, that's the type of behavior that's going to lead to another global pandemic.
Yeah. Doing that.
I did the vampire, the Dracula, the dab.
When I see grown men sneeze into their hands, it makes my blood boil. Don't do that. Anyways.
What if they wash their hands immediately after?
It's fine.
Okay.
Just don't do that, though.
What if they then wipe their hand on your sandwich to dry it?
See, that is great.
Not good.
What's your stance on hankies?
Is that a very Midwestern thing? Because the only person I've ever known to use a hanky was my grandfather, who's from Nebraska. Always kept
maybe.
around handkerchief, blows his nose in it, puts it right back in his
I
pocket.
thought that was just kind of an old man thing.
Or maybe that's what it is.
Maybe I should get a
Father,
hanky. Are you saying I should invest in hankies?
Father,
Why are you looking at it, Spay?
Let me get. You wipe. Yeah.
yeah.
Open it up. sneeze.
Yeah, but then you got to put it back in your pocket.
Yeah. Squish.
Before NCAAs goes to Minneapolis, like I said, they're going to St. Louis in 2027, which has been a pretty good host in the past. Although I have heard St. Louis has kind of turned into a ghost town a little bit in the past couple of years.
Yeah. I think any city is fun for NCAAs. Like, it depends about, the people you go with and, like, your attitude
Right.
going into it. I don't know if we see.
Your brain just Googled, is St. Louis a ghost town? And the Google AI said, no, St. Louis is not a ghost town.
Yeah.
Decline in population.
But Daily Mail says St. Louis has become a ghost town.
Oh, wow.
So it depends if who you believe, AI or the Daily Mail.
Yeah, but you're not there to go to the downtown business district and, like, be in an office building and whatnot.
Right. Also, there's
a
20,000 fans, 25,000 fans. NCAAs brings in, like, that's why you're there.
Yeah, and they have the park, the archway is open. What was it, 17? The first one I went to, like, that whole park was being renovated, so, like, you couldn't even go to the arch or any of that stuff. And then the second time it was a little bit better because the park was open. But I mean, when we go, we're just in the arena for
Right.
12 whatever many hours, and you're back in the hotel, so you don't really get to see the downtown so much. So I would go on other people's judgment. The one thing I would say is people bemoaning that it's back at St. Louis, like, oh, why isn't it in Florida? Why don't we have it in California? I agree. I think those would be great, but the people you should be yelling at are not the NCAA or St. Louis. The people you should be yelling at are the cities that didn't get it because they have to put together more competitive bids. The NCAA isn't just deciding. They're not just looking at a map and be like, well, back to St. Louis because of its geography or whatever. I mean, geography is probably a factor, but what they're looking at are the sports commissions in the city and whatever organization is putting forth the bid, and they do it for NCAA basketball and, more events than we can name or whatever. So this is not a thing that these places with arenas are not used to doing, and they have to go out and bid for events, and they have to be pretty aggressive because clearly St. Louis is investing and wants to be a place where the NCAA wrestling tournament is held. They, they've got it down. They have their system and everything, and the NCAA clearly thinks that they've done a good enough job. So if you're going to beat an NCAA or a St. Louis bid from Charlotte or Arizona or wherever you think is a good idea, they need to come up with a good competitive bid, and they need to do a better job than St. Louis is. And they're not just going to get it because it sounds good to be, the weather or the geography sounds a little bit nicer. They have to figure out logistics and how they're going to, the hotel situation is a huge one, and, a whole bunch of other factors. So get mad at those sports commissions and tell them to do a better job with their bids.
I know Brian Smith has had a big part in that too, in bringing, obviously he wants it as close to Columbia as he can.
Yeah,
get
so
it.
a school has to be a sponsor, and they have to, mats and workout space and a million other things. And that's why, SIUE is closer to St. Louis. It's on the Illinois side, but it's basically a suburb of St. Louis, and Missouri is, in the middle of the state, so further away. But yeah, like you said, Brian Smith and the University of Missouri are a big part of those bids, and they want it there. It's a little more convenient for the Missouri wrestlers, certainly, so they see that as an advantage. So they put the time and the effort into helping St. Louis make a more attractive bid, and that's why it's held in St. Louis all the time. So
If you could have NCAAs anywhere, where would it be?
I would keep rotating. I would not make it one place forever. I would keep the bids coming. And I really liked Madison Square Garden because I'm partial to New York City. Mm-hmm. And then I would move it to places like LA. If they could put together a competitive bid, I would move it to, other places on the West Coast. San Francisco would be really cool. I would love to have it here in Texas somewhere. Dallas, Austin, obviously, makes it the most convenient for us. And then North Carolina, I think, would be a great place, either in Raleigh or Charlotte, somewhere in Florida. So I'm not, I don't have like it must be in one place or it has to be here, but keep rotating it and give the Sunshine States a little bit of love. But again, it's up to those locations.
Austin would be sick.
I think so.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You know what? Denver too. Like, let's get a little altitude
Yeah.
in the mix.
Oh man,
Yeah, I love
I'm
it.
just thinking now of like a whole tournament that's like wrestled completely, like all sorts of crazy upsets and stuff. Because
Yeah.
it's all about lung capacity.
That'd be fun.
Wow,
Plus, Denver's an incredible city.
it's pretty decent.
It was always tough. UNK's first event every year was the Wyoming Cowboy Open.
7,200 feet.
I know. And your first competition, not fun, tough.
Yeah. Yeah, you see a lot of people fall off mid-match or mid-tournament.
Where would you host it, JD?
Obviously, Des Moines or Omaha. Send it back. 2 successful tournaments there in the past 15 years. Send it back.
Another thing you'll
Omaha
hear.
should just, host every NCAA event like they do the College World Series.
I liked Omaha for the World Team Trials. I know people wanted a bigger arena, not that convention center, but
Well, yeah, you send it to Chai Health, though, where it was 2009, 11. I forget what year it was there. Something like that.
you hear a lot of there'll be guys. Britt Malinsky is big on this, but knowing what arena size, like the floor space and all the technical logistics, he knows like the dimensions of like every arena in the U.S. and can say, well, it's not coming to. Somebody said, I think maybe Cedar Falls or something, a place where it's just not big enough.
Think about, Unidome would probably be big enough. Think about how mad, in fact, it's hosted NCAAs before.
Well, now he's going to have a well actually about why that doesn't matter because there's some other thing.
Okay. Think about how mad Penn State fans would be if it was like always in Des Moines or Omaha, and how mad Iowa fans would be if it was always in like Philly
Yeah, or
Pittsburgh.
Tulsa.
Yeah, or Tulsa.
They'd be mad.
Be kind of funny though.
How did you like Detroit?
I thought Detroit was cool. I think my favorite that I've been
It
to
was not cool.
Well, we also stayed at a crappy Airbnb.
The YouTube chat, they love Detroit. They said bring it back.
Detroit was like brand new too. The facility was like gleaming. It was pretty cool to see. Like, I don't know if it was in the B Club, but it was a pretty nice facility.
Pizza.
Pizza, yeah, Little Caesars.
I'm a big fan of the city of Pittsburgh, but I think I'm drawing a blank on the name of last year's city for some reason. My brain's not working great. Well, no, last year wasn't Tulsa.
Kansas City.
Kansas
That's right.
City. Thank you.
Power and Light.
Kansas City last year was really cool. Like the arena was right there downtown. I mean, I'm saying cool based off of the experiences of everyone I've talked to, because we were all working the whole time and didn't really get to experience the city that much. But based off of just everyone else I talked to, they seem to really like Kansas City. So
Yeah, the Denny's and the Waffle House could have been a little bit nicer.
yeah, for us.
11 p.m. But other than that, and then the Chipotle I had.
It also could have been
Wednesday
way
before.
worse. A Waffle House
I mean,
after
it was
dark,
pretty
it could have been way worse.
What was Connor's like? Well, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
I can't say it, but
But no fights.
no, we did not see one. That almost, yeah. If you would see a real life Waffle House fight,
I know. That's the entire Waffle House experience.
But I think it should be in Tokyo. That'd be a great NCAA
Oh, wow.
hosting city. If you're asking me, any city. So
Yes, where else would you like to travel across
maybe
the world,
London.
Tyler?
Put it anywhere.
at the bottom of the sea and a
Yep,
giant
that's
dome. That,
Atlantis. Yes.
let's go to Mars. We'll call Elon.
All right, let's move on from NCAAs. My next topic, Jordan Burroughs. He let it slip in his latest YouTube video that was released yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. But he's doing a workout. He gets done and he goes, 2028, Levy, LA, I can do it.
Whew. He's just teasing us.
Yeah.
You think do you think you'd do it?
I hope. I mean, like everything is like. Of course, I want Burroughs to wrestle forever, but nobody does. I mean, Father Time is undefeated. All the cliches.
I just thought
I don't know.
it was interesting to A, say that, and B, include it in the YouTube video. Although I will say this video was clearly shot leading up to World Team Trials, and afterwards he had an indefinite tone about what his plans were for beyond this year at the World Championships afterwards.
I think it's just interesting to get inside the mindset of an athlete, that's that elite. And I think when you're going through you got to imagine, like, if you're Jordan Burroughs and you're going through a hard workout, that is one of the things going through your mind is like, how much longer can I do this? And even, I mean, on a much like lesser scale, like being in the compound room last week before Who's Number One, like there are all these visual like markers of future goals for these athletes coming up. They have like countdown clocks on the wall for Super 32 and for their state tournament and Fargo and like all these different things. They have posters up on the wall for Bishop McCourt versus Wyoming Sim Duel that's like down the road. And I think that, as an athlete gets to be more elite and further in their career, that doesn't go away. And you're asking yourself, like, what are these big goals? Those are things that are helping to push you through a workout like that, right? And so Jordan Burroughs, I think he's not just thinking, all right, I got world team trials coming up, but he's asking himself, like, because I mean, this for him is his entire career. Like if he's going to wrestle through LA, that's his life. That's what he's doing for the next 4 years. If he's not, then it's something else. And I think that's probably a question that's constantly in his mind. So I think it's more interesting just from that perspective, that as he's in the middle of this workout and completing it, like that is in the back of his mind, that could be, could be a possibility.
I think part of him too. So he said, I think it was 2022 Final X where he first said, I'm done in 2024, right? I think
2022 or 2023, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 22 because it was in New York or New Jersey. And I think when you're there in 2022, you're thinking it's easy to set that deadline because you're probably making a lot of assumptions about how you're going to feel in the future. I'm going to be 36. Like, this is probably how my body will feel. And then you get there, and it seems like he still feels great. His fire almost feels like it's been reignited, going through like the dip and then coming back up. He might be thinking to himself, man, if I keep feeling like this, maybe I will keep going. And after he won World Team Trials, when he beat Chance, in the post-match interview, he didn't even say that this is his last year. He actually specifically said, who knows, if I go get a medal and I get that final exit out, I might be back next year. Like he's being non-committal about retiring now, which I think is great. I think he's always said before, I mean, there was questions if he was going to retire in 2020, right? And then he was like, I'm not about preserving my legacy here. I'm about continuing to wrestle as long as I love wrestling. And I think he just still loves wrestling, and I hope he continues to love wrestling. It'd be cool to see him maybe try to bump up and make it at 86 in 2028.
I think that's a good point of when people talk about legacy. I used to always drive me nuts when people would call out like a professional football player, like a quarterback or a baseball player. And it's like, why would you ruin your legacy by going to what Joe Montana not retire with the 49ers or, as one example of many. And it's like, the guy wants to keep playing an awesome sport for a living. He's going to get paid handsomely for it. Of course he's going to go to another team. Of course the legacy. And if it's like
Michael Jordan's
with the Wizards.
Yeah.
That's another great one where it's like, wow, what does he need to be out there? These guys are competitors. They love the sport. You can't get to their level of success at something that competitive and not have like a deep connection to the sport where being away from it probably feels wrong. So yeah, if Burroughs wants to be on the mat, then I think he should be, or he should. That to me is the right or a great mindset. Not that I know what a right or wrong mindset at that level would be, but yeah, I applaud it and would celebrate it if he does get on the mat. And whether he wins or loses, there's no taking away like those years just because you could have retired and not taken losses later. That means nothing.
How much do we think Mijan Lopez inspired him?
I was gonna say Mijan kind of ruined it for the old guys that were like, well, nobody wrestles in their late 30s, and there's Mijan at 42 or whatever. Maybe a little bit. Yeah. I think.
All right, let's get into 184.
Okay.
Tiers. Doing one tier a day, moving up to 184. Tier 1's pretty easy. Tier 2 and 3 get a little interesting, but Tier 1, Carter Starachi, Parker Kekaisen. Yes, that's pretty obvious. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tier 2, I've included Dustin Plott, Nelson Brand / Gabe Arnold, whoever I have those out there, Bennett Berge, Ed Ruth 2, and Lenny Pinto.
Ed Ruth 2.
I think it's amazing that Iowa or any team could have two guys at a tier like that, that close to being a national champion at the same weight.
And then Tier 3, TJ Stewart, Dylan Fishback, Max McAnally, Jackson Smith, Brock Del Signore, Colton Hawks, Chris Foca, Josh Barr.
It's crazy seeing Foca that low. He didn't have a great year at 184, did he?
He did not have a great year.
Are we assuming Josh Barr is there in case Carter gets hurt?
Yeah. I know he could go 97 or, I think when I was just looking at 184 projections.
I mean, yeah, Barr, I don't disagree with putting him there. I mean, I think he could wrestle his way into Tier 2. But yeah, that wasn't to criticize it. I'm just like, there's nothing else I'm missing there is really the question.
Now, the question is, should Dustin Plott
That's what I was going to say.
be Tier 2 Island?
I think so, yes.
I do not, obviously.
I mean, he lost to Nelson Brands. I think that's a couple years ago.
Right?
A couple years ago.
2 years, and he was 0-2.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I think that's
And he split with Lenny Pinto.
That was at 174 though.
yeah. So, but if you just look at last year, he felt like Tier 2 Island last year. But
Even though he split with Pinto?
yeah, I mean, just looking where he was compared to where Pinto was.
And he had
like
an overtime match with Berge, which he did win, but still, those in the balance. Owen having really tight matches with Berge, splitting with Pinto, and being 0-2 against Nelson Brands. The last year Brands competed. That's why I was like, there's not quite enough separation there where I can see. But he did beat Gabe Arnold and Berge last year, and Pinto. And besides that, only lost to Keckeisen, I think.
I remember going into NCAAs, like you almost penciled in Keckeisen and Plott like into the finals against each other.
He's for sure like the king.
First among equals. Yeah, I think it's because he's the first name that you think of after those two. It's like, well, are we forgetting Plott? So no one else, do you think like, well, could they work their way into the top two or should be up there? I feel like maybe not on an island. It depends on how you do your tiers.
Yeah, just how much separation qualifies a tier.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe it is if he had only split with Pinto, and he had like never wrestled Nelson Brands before, I would say maybe he is Tier 2 Island.
Now, you never know. He could have a season where he obliterates everybody except,
right,
or maybe even sneaks in a win against one of those guys. He could establish himself as that Tier 2 Island.
Question. Quick plug, Carter Strachey, Parker Keckeisen in Tier 1. They're wrestling in WCL All-Star Classic November 16th. Yep. But one of those guys just absolutely destroys the other. You keeping the other guy in Tier 1, or is that Tier 2 Island guy?
I think you'd have to see the match. But if it's
a destroy, probably Tier 2 Island.
If it looks like, I don't know, like last year, the way that Strachey looked when he wrestled Mekhi Lewis, if it's something like that, it's like, these are different levels. But I would be pretty surprised. And we got the match order up on the screen. This is a great time to plug that event. It's gonna be incredible. What a headliner. We're gonna find out. I think we're gonna find out a whole lot. I cannot wait for that match.
I was wondering something. I don't know if this got covered yesterday, or not yesterday, but Tuesday on FRL. But Carter and Parker, 6 NCAA titles between them.
5. Well, they're going to end up with 6, but right now it's 5, right?
It's 4-1.
They could end up with 6.
Oh, Parker just has the 1. All right, so 5.
More than likely, they'll end up with 6 between the two.
One of them, yeah. So, what is the most NCAA titles between? Have we ever seen? We've never seen 2 guys with 3 each wrestle.
Well,
that would be the maximum before
when they competed.
They competed, because Dake and Taylor.
That was only
would have been 4 when they competed, but ended up with 6.
1. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see what else. I mean, if you're thinking about like all time, I mean 7 between Stieber and Rutherford.
Wow,
pretty crazy.
Right, but they
weren't.
Zane was a
finals.
0.
That wasn't a final.
Well, just in a match.
Right? I mean, like anytime you see 2 guys like, and you're counting up how many NCAA titles they won already, so not any future titles after their match.
Gwiz and Snyder hit, that was 4, or was it?
That was
3?
just 2 for Gwiz, and
was that Snyder's first?
I think it was Snyder's first.
Was it?
Because he didn't win freshman year, and then he went up to heavy. Did he have?
Yeah, that would have been his first year at heavyweight. You're right.
So it was just 2. It'll take
it's a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of it this morning.
If anyone in the chat says something that we forgot, let us know.
Let's see what the chat's got popping.
What made me think of it is like, okay, what's the next most hype thing ever? And it was David and Dake, or Taylor and Dake. Mm-hmm. And then you go, okay, that was 6 total NCAA championships, but David had only won 1 at that point. Mm-hmm. Dake had 3, so that's 4. And Carter already has 4, so.
Crazy.
What's it going to be here?
Did you see Oklahoma State release part of their schedule, or Iowa did, and Oklahoma State's going to be traveling to Iowa.
I saw.
That'll be a fun duel. And we'll get Plot, Brand/Arnold.
Oh yeah, Tier 2 battle. Then we decide whose island is on what.
That's right. All right.
Is there anybody that should be in Tier 3 that's not? Like, I'm surprised. Tyler, what do you think about Jaden Bullock?
Oh yeah, where's Jaden Bullock? The hell, dude.
Tier 4.
Tier 3 island. Jaden Bullock.
What about
He's not Tier 4. Are you crazy?
the only guy that I could think of offhand, maybe if I was digging into the computer, but Clayton Whiting.
He's going 74.
He is? Mm-hmm. Well, that would be why he's not there.
I think one of the things that's really interesting about this weight class is you've got 3 absolute wild cards, and Pinto's in the tiers, but currently Ryder Rogotsky and Brian Soldano not in the tiers, and
Those are good ones, yeah.
and it's tough to put them in the tiers because their highs
to
are
lose.
extremely high, but their lows are really low, and so don't worry if they're not in a tier. They could still. I mean, you just literally never know what's going to happen when any of those 3 guys wrestle. So that makes this weight class really fun. Those 3 guys.
I remember my first year working at Flow. Spay had told me about Brian Soldano. It was a couple years ago, and we were doing the Big Ten watch party, and he's like, "Soldano watch." Every time Soldano took the mat, we were on Soldano watch.
Yeah, because even in high school, he was a wild man, like Super 32s and stuff like that. He's just, hey, it's his own back. He'll roll over it if he wants. And sometimes you're not ready to prepare for the moves that fall out of that and the scrambles. Other times you catch him, and it's bad news for Soldano.
And Rogotsky is like that too.
Yeah. It like just destroying coaches that are saying don't reach back to their kids. And it's like, oh, no, reach back.
Yeah.
Bryce Andonian loves reaching back on bottom. It's so funny.
JD
It always works.
JD, were you tempted to put Evan Bachman in tier 3?
Oh, I forgot he's switching weights because
Yeah.
Carroll will be a 97.
Yeah, a lot of people getting confused by people changing weight classes. It's no big deal.
Were you tempted? I mean, that's Iowa
I
State.
am now.
Yeah.
More than Bullock.
Are you kidding me? Bro, Jaden had really good wins last year. It's actually absurd that he's not in tier 3. I don't have the wins and losses right in front of me right now, so I don't feel comfortable making a legitimate argument, but to me, just off vibes, feels crazy.
You do feel comfortable throwing that Yeti at JD's face for leaving him out.
I'll do it, dude.
That full of hot coffee. All right. Let's move on to our team breakdown. We did Virginia Tech on Tuesday, so naturally, we're doing NC State
Naturally.
today. Naturally. I'll tell you what. This is a salty lineup. This is a good lineup. 125, number 8, Jacob Camacho. 133, number 7, Kyle Reaney. 141, number 5, Ryan Jack. 49, number 6, Jackson Arrington. 157, number 8, Ed Scott. 165, number 18, Derek Fields. 174, Matty Singleton. 184, number 10, Dylan Fishback. 197, Christian Knopp or Chase Horn. 285, number 9, Isaac Trumbull.
Trumbull and Horn doing a little swap.
Yeah.
A weight class switcheroo.
True.
I can't believe Chase Horn's making 97, but he is on the roster at 197.
Was he who's number 1 as a heavyweight?
Yes, he was. A big heavyweight, too.
Yeah, he won. It was considered an upset at the time when he beat Katka.
Keontae
Hamilton.
Yep. I think it was an upset. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. I don't know when the last time was he made 197. I think, I don't know, sophomore in high school maybe? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe before that.
Shout out to Chase Horn for being the funniest guy on the scavenger hunt, almost coming up on the 1-year anniversary when we went to Super 32 and hit 4 different North Carolina D1 schools. Had a little scavenger hunt with Duke, UNC, NC State, and Campbell. And Chase Horn, in my opinion, was the star of the show.
I would have to agree. It was funny because he was like, I wanted to golf, but they told me I can't golf because I'm too bad. I think it was actually because they knew he would be really great in the video.
Oh, because there was another event or something?
They had their golf fundraiser.
Right.
What are they called? Why can't I think of what that's called? A golf outing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what
charity
it's
golf
called.
outing.
They had their golf outing that day.
I also liked it. He wasn't the only one, but a lot of the wrestlers our scavenger hunt was like find an academic building in the library, and a lot of them were like, I've never been in this.
Chase Horn answered his phone on speakerphone in the library.
Yeah, not a lot of library etiquette. Not used to being in those.
I turned the camera to Bray. He's like, I don't think Chase knows what a library is.
First time in a library.
So,
He wasn't the only one, but he was pretty
talking
funny.
on speakerphone through the library. It was so funny.
You can see the kids like turn around.
Oh my gosh.
All right, shout out Chase Horn. Go
Want
watch
to break
that
down
video.
this lineup?
Yeah, I mean, how many other lineups start with your first 5 weights on the top 10?
Not a lot. We kind of talked about
Zero.
that a couple weeks ago. So people were asking us best one through 5. And NC State was like, I think we said second or third.
They are, I will say, kind of similar to the other teams we've previewed, Nebraska and Virginia Tech, where really, really, really good dual team, but might not have the really high top 3 placers in the lineup to contend for a team trophy this year.
Yeah, because when you look at these guys and you go, best case scenario, yeah, I don't know, maybe not finalists, but top 5 for all of them almost. And you could make a case for Matty Singleton, who's not ranked right now, Isaac Trumbull.
I mean, their best hope for a top 3 finish is probably Camacho,
Yeah, because 125 is
125. He
Yeah.
was ranked number 1 at one point, I believe.
He was. Yeah.
him and then a dozen other guys.
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, last year he didn't get it done, but he does feel like a guy that could. And this is his last attempt, I think. So
This is a pretty. Oh, go ahead.
I think for Camacho, Orini, and Ryan Jack, it's their last run, which that's you want to make the most of it. You got a top 3 like that. If they're starting 3 like that, you want to make the most of that. And I don't know, who knows? Sometimes you see it.
Are we sleeping on Jackson Arrington?
I was just going to say,
Who
who's
beat Caleb
ranked third
Hinson?
at 149?
It goes Van Ness, Henson, Lovett, Van Ness.
Ooh, that is a tough 3 to crack.
But he did it. He did it last year at ACCs.
Yeah. It was one of those funky positions where...
Very controversial.
yeah. What is it? A single leg, and then you come around, you have the leg hooked, but the guy still has the single leg locked.
Yep.
We've seen that kind of called inconsistently, but he still got his hand raised.
Now,
Oh, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, well, I don't feel like they have a whole lot of downside either. Like, I feel like Camacho's not going to be too much lower than 8th. Same with Orini at 7. Jack at 5. Feels about right. Arrington at 6. Ed Scott at 8. Like, Derek Fields could maybe make round of 12 instead of ranked number 19. Singleton, not ranked right now, but is a guy with a lot of potential. They're getting no ranking points at 197, obviously, although that one's going to be tough.
What's Trumbull's ceiling at 285?
I'd say
Low AA,
low.
I'd say high.
Yeah.
high AA.
Yeah. I feel like he could be top 5.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I was considering 5 low. Like 5 through 8 is low.
Oh, I think he could be top 4. I don't know who we
With
got.
the likes of Kirkfleet, Feldman,
Wyatt.
Schultz, Wyatt Hendrickson. Like, I feel like he's not. Maybe
I think he'd be top
Feldman.
5.
Maybe Feldman.
yeah, I don't see Hendrickson and Kirk would be real tough because of their size, but I don't know. Trumbull's a big dude now.
Yeah.
He's been on that bulking business for a little bit. The
right,
the
can
thing that gives me
he be-
pause. Go ahead.
You want me to run it down? Like who?
Yeah.
Steeta's probably after that.
Younger
Oh,
is
yeah.
6, so that's a tough guy to beat. Slavakuski is 5 because he beat Younger Bastida last year, but you got to kind of
Broken finger, younger.
yeah, you
Sad
gotta-
boy hours.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. So I would think Yaroslav, that's a guy that Trumbull
Yeah.
could beat.
Forgot about Big Slav coming back.
Colton Schultz, number 4. How do you like that match?
I mean, I favor Colton, but I'm thinking like, can Trumbull do it? I think his length and athleticism at heavyweight is going to work to his advantage. It could work. We don't have a lot of results to go on. Not a lot of heavyweight body of work. But I'm just thinking like, for a guy to bump up to heavyweight, he's got the frame and the skills where it could translate really well. You just have to see it. So I think his ceiling is real high. It's just another one of those guys. Like all these guys you don't think are going to drop below, but I know Camacho and Jack definitely have had early exits to the NCAAs. Like, I wouldn't expect it, and I wouldn't predict it, but it's when you're not in
Right.
that like automatic area where stuff like that can happen. You could just have a bad match. Another guy goes on a hot streak where who knew he was going to bulldoze everybody to a third, and you just happen to be in his way, and that puts you out in the wrestlebacks early. It doesn't make me super confident that all these guys are going to be at least in the round of 12, but I do think dual meet team. This is a scary lineup because there are no outs. There are no, well, we should pick up 6 here, or this is a big thing for us. It's like, no, you got to fight for your life at every single weight class. Right
now in the team rankings, they're projected to finish 6th with 41 points, and that doesn't include bonus or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Ohio State's ahead of them at 5th, and they're 9 points ahead. So, and then after that, right below them is Missouri, UNI, Michigan, Arizona State, Virginia Tech. All those schools are within 6 points of each other. So
yeah, it's gonna be wild.
That's a tight group right there, and it makes me wonder, like, can NC State, can they make up that 9-point difference and move into the top 5? It could be tough, but if they're looking for a place to do it, I think 157 with Ed Scott is a weight class where I could see him. He's currently sitting at
8th,
rank number 8. Could he beat Antrell Taylor, Ryder Downey, Peyton Keller, Tyler Kasich, Daniel Cardenas? That group, I think he could win a few of those matches and maybe makes up some points.
Where you really get that benefit at NCAAs as a team is when you have a Parker Keckeisen that is going to be seeded top 2 and make the finals with a lot of bonus. When you have a Jesse Mendez for Ohio State, those guys give you the points that you need, and you're not. And then all these other guys are like bonus. So their floor being that high is such a help for those team races. So NC State could run all these guys down, but now you need 8 guys all outperforming the baseline.
Mm-hmm. I could see Isaac Trumbull going on a Lucas Davison-like run to the finals.
I think that's a great comparison for their build, wrestling style.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be completely shocked. It's obviously like that's kind of like, I wouldn't pick him against Greg, but
yeah.
Obviously, Yonkers not going to let that happen again. Obviously. Plus Keeter, no chance against the state of Iowa.
We need more younger content.
Yeah, we
get some camera.
Not good enough younger content.
Yeah, just getting that swag.
Is the NCAA just doing 4 trophies again now? I mean, they sent Iowa State one. Are they just like going back?
I think they got shamed. I think everyone was like, "You idiots! Yes, you can afford another trophy. Like, what are you doing?"
Did they do that in every sport or just wrestling?
I don't know.
I heard that the NWCA was paying for it in D2 and D3.
I think
they just do that for
I think the NWCA stepped up and said, "We'll just, give this 4th place or recognize it," and then it's the official NCAA trophy that Iowa State.
The one that Iowa State got.
Yeah. So I think they reversed course on that.
It's not like an endowed scholarship from the NWCA.
No, it's not like the COVID year where you're a COVID an NWCA All-American and not an NCAA All-American. Like, they sent the real NCAA trophy, and I don't think that was like a one-off. I think enough people in enough sports were like, "Hey, just give the 4th place trophy." Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
What's going on?
So you can't do that once
and then not do it next year.
Yeah. The 4th place team is gonna be like, "Hey, yo."
If you're changing policy, you pull the Band-Aid off and you don't walk it back one year.
Right.
Later.
Yeah. So probably top 4. Again, can NC State push in the top 4? I don't know. It's going to be tough.
They can.
I think that's
like
their ceiling.
Virginia Tech can.
Right. I think that's their ceiling is 4th place. But, I mean, their floor is probably like 11th, 10th.
There's so many good teams in that. Like, all the guys Braid just ran off.
All right. Well, that was NC State. Really tough team. That Virginia Tech duel, I was kind of looking at it. A lot of swing matches. So it's going to be...
That's one of the best duels of the year. I think if you're like a fan that's just watching this that just likes college football, you don't necessarily... college football or college wrestling, and you don't really have like one team or another, or, you're just so into it. Like, make sure you watch that. Figure out a way. If you don't get... I think it's ACC Network or whatever. Go to a bar and make them put it on the TV. Yeah. It's always fun. Great atmospheres.
We usually second screen experience that as well if you can't find it.
Yeah, and then watch your pals watch it on while you watch.
That's right. Now, before we get to questions, we're going to play a quick game. little game of Would You Rather? This or that, where we ask each other questions about what we'd rather. Let's get some going in the chat, too. Maybe if they want to have some, they want to ask us some questions. But would you rather be a 4-time AA or a 1-time NCAA finalist?
4-time AA. And you lose?
Yeah.
4-time AA.
But you're like 5th through 8th for 4 years, or you get to wrestle in the finals once, but that's the only time you AA.
Finalist.
Nah, give me the 4-time. And you lose, man.
4-time AA.
Yeah, I'd rather be 4-time.
I'll take 4-time. I like the James Green style. He ends every season on a win. 7th, 7th, 3rd, 3rd. Like that's better than George DiCamillo, who was round of 12 3 times and then a finalist once. I think
it's just such an honor to wrestle in the NCAA finals. Like you get pulled for the interview, like you get to pick out your walkout song. You get to do a bunch of stuff that people who don't
You're
make
on
the finals
ESPN
don't get to
Maine.
do. Yeah, you get to be on ESPN.
You get to have hundreds of thousands of fans watch you lose.
It's not the Ocho. Everyone's watching. Yeah, I guess everyone would watch you lose. How bad am I losing this match?
Winning in the semis would be pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, dude. Think about like the celebrations that happen when you win in the semis.
semis is a big selly. But so is that round of 12, and quarters are a little more muted. You guarantee an All-American status, but you can't do your victory lap or pop the champagne because it's like you could end up 6th.
Semi-slide.
Semi-slide's got to be the worst. I would take 1-time finalist over 4-time semi-slide.
Yeah.
Well,
there's some nuance in there.
But this could be 4-time semi-slide.
That's why I
don't know that.
Well, how we?
So you have to
how we
grade-
figuring that out? Rolling the dice.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you have to grade 4-time AA off of the valley and not the peak. It could be 4-time 8th place.
You could start 3rd and then 8th place 3 times.
If you're 8th place 4 times, people are still going to always talk about you as a 4-time AA. Eighth 4 times is pretty rough.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny at that point.
8th 4
That
times
would
is
be
rough.
kind of funny.
But I just think, man, if somebody's introducing you, at your wrestling camp, I think you can make more money at your wrestling clinic being a 4-time AA than you can be
Being an NCAA finalist?
I think so. I think you can. Yeah.
You might get more recognition, honestly, being a finalist. Just more eyeballs on you. That guy made the finals. I remember watching him.
Well, but the eyeballs, like that's got a shelf life. After a certain period of time, nobody's even looking at the match anymore. They're just like, oh yeah, 4-time AA.
It's my opinion that, like, to your point, the eyeballs don't matter. At a certain point, it just matters whether you were an All-American or not. And I think like people stop caring whether it was multiple times or whether it was once. And that's why I'm going to go with finalists.
Okay.
I think it is, too, a little bit, how bad were you the years you didn't make the finals? Like, if you were really
true.
tough, like round of 12, maybe should have, but you just didn't put it together at NCAAs, and you were a guy all season long, if you were, on the other hand, if you were like 4-time 3rd or 4th versus 4-time 8th, there's a big difference between, that guy, he's one of the best to never win it, versus he's a guy who snuck on the podium a couple times.
Does it matter what level of program you're at? Because if you're at like an Iowa or a Penn State, which one of those is better versus if you're at like a mid-major or something?
If you do the Ronnie Perry,
Ronnie Perry is a 1-time finalist. He's Mr. Lockhaven.
right?
Or if you do that at Iowa, Penn State, and you're a 1-time
You
finalist,
get forgotten. But if you're a 4-time AA, you were a solid starter for them. Solid option for 4 years.
You could be not an accidental finalist, but like a little bit of a fluky NCAA finalist. You cannot be a fluky 4-time All-American. It's
Yeah.
not possible.
yeah, 4 times is not a fluke.
Can't do
By
it.
definition.
I don't care if it's fluky or not.
You want to be on ESPN. This
be on
man
ESPN.
wants his camera time.
Kozak says, give me Ben Bennett's finishes 4th, 8th, 6th, 6th.
Okay.
4th, 8th, 6th. Ben Bennett.
Yeah.
Good pull.
Yeah.
Head coach, Central Michigan.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You just got the nod. Mm-hmm. What if the finals were not on ESPN? What if it was streamed only, or if it was on like Peacock or something?
I still would want to be a finalist.
Okay. What if you don't get the interviews?
Because
and the
you get like a
walkouts?
different title. You get a whole separate title. You get NCAA finalist.
That's true.
If you're a 4-time All-American, you're still an All-American.
What
You don't get that
runner up
extra title.
or finalist?
Finalist,
Finalist over runner up.
obviously.
We should get rid of runner up. Strike it from the
gone.
lexicon. Okay.
Give me the next one.
Olympic champion or 4-time world champion?
Whew. Olympic champion.
Yeah, I think Olympic.
That's too easy because like Olympics are such a bigger platform than the World Championships. Maybe one day Worlds will start to get close to that or something. But I mean, I would take 4-time world champion and Olympic silver.
See, here's the thing, though. Now you guys are being a little bit
Greedy.
no, you're being a little inconsistent because there's fluky Olympic champions.
That's true.
But you were saying that was your reason for
Take that back.
bro Ramazanov.
Yeah. G. Legend.
Fluky,
Yeah, kind of fluky.
kind of fluky.
Okay, but no. There's a big
Luke.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? It's pretty fluky.
He
No
beat-
one thought that guy was going to win.
There's
the
a
It was
difference between not
rare and a
thinking-
fluke. A fluke is like
You're one of the best wrestlers of all time. Happens to separate his shoulder in the middle of his match with you.
because you beat him up because you're strong. What is Varner a fluke?
I don't know his
Cejudo
history.
a fluke?
Tell me what happened in those brackets. I wasn't paying attention to wrestling at the time.
Well, Varner was going to wrestle Reza Yazdani, who he's never beaten, and then Reza got injured, and that was after Reza beat Gadisov, who Varner also never beat.
I also said last one was finalist.
If it happens to an American, that's just destiny. If it happens to Ramazanov,
I don't think Ramazanov was a fluke. I think you could say it was unlikely and the odds were long, but like.
But my point here
Miocic
is
a
that
fluke?
my point here is no. First of all, not the Olympics. Second of all, no, he's a beast. Also, but my point here is that you were saying that you can have a fluky NCAA finalist, but it's more respectable to be like a solid 4-time All-American. That's why you would pick that. But if you're a 4-time world champion, that's not fluky at all. You were best in the world 4 times, but you can be a little bit more fluky of an
I'm
Olympic
thinking
champion.
about it from outside of a wrestling perspective, where I can go walk down the street and be like, yo, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. And everyone's like, yo, that's sick.
Yeah.
But if you say you're a 4-time world, think about like, I don't know, handball or something. And somebody's like, yeah, I'm a 4-time handball world champion. I don't give a rip.
You were a team player. You were a system player.
That just kind of adds to my argument, though, because if you're talking to like a
No, but you're not a
person
champion.
who
You're a
doesn't,
finalist.
but still, like a person who doesn't like wrestle doesn't know the difference between like being a 4-time All-American
Huge
and
difference between an
being an
NCAA
NCAA
champion.
finalist. They just hear you're one of the 2 best. I digress.
Still can't get over
You get way
the
more like
fluky Olympic champ.
More fluky than being 4-time world champ.
So Juan in the chat is saying that
Theoretically, yeah.
Juan in the chat is saying that we need to reframe the Olympics being better than Worlds thing, because the Worlds is just as tough and maybe more fun to watch. Thing is, for a wrestling fan, that's true. But I mean, if you're talking about how this accomplishment impacts your life, I think you would take the what comes with the Olympic gold, the ability to win on that stage. I think you would take that over being hands down the best in the world who locked it up for year after year.
Yeah.
I would. And it's very different than the conversation earlier about NCAA finalists, because you still lost in the finals at NCAAs. You didn't get to be a champ. You just, made the finals once.
The problem with the World Championship, I mean, I agree. Like, as a super wrestling fan, it would be nice if the World Championships had more cachet. But look at the difference between Olympics and Worlds. At the World Championships, there's always an opening ceremony. You can't start a global culture war because of what happened at the opening ceremony to the World Championships. But Paris sure caused a whole stir because everybody was watching and wanted to make a big deal. I mean, that's just the cultural global relevance of something like the Olympics. It's why it's such a juggernaut and why, wrestling just does whatever the Olympics say, just to be a part of that, to be invited to that event.
what did we just talk about earlier in the show? Burroughs saying, LA, 2028, I can do this. He wasn't saying Albania, Tirana, I can do this.
Yeah.
No, he was talking about Olympics. Everybody thinks in quads. International wrestlers too. Whether we want to admit it or not, or whether it should be that way or not, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
More prestigious.
I'd like it for wrestling to have more control of their own destiny, but the Olympics just provides too much exposure and opportunity for people that exceed and excel there.
Also, along the lines of fluky Olympic champs, earn your gold in the chat, talking about maybe Ramazanov getting too much criticism compared to Jamalov, who was totally gifted a match during the tournament.
It's true.
And he didn't have to deal with Sidikov in the bracket. So, although
Also-
Kozak said we may see that match soon.
Sorry, Sarah, but Sarah Hildebrand,
I mean, yeah, that's crazy. That they like. Who
None
knows?
of those are flukes.
Who knows?
That was
opinion.
what I was. That was mine.
But even despite the fact that someone could say that it is, I still think Sarah Hildebrand would take that experience over 4 golds. I don't know. We can ask her maybe.
I think so too. And for the record, because I don't want it to get twisted, I said in the beginning I would rather be an Olympic champion. I was just trying to poke through your guys' logic on the last one.
You said you would rather be a fluky Olympic champion.
No, I never said that.
You'd rather be
Like
gifted
all the
the
other
Olympic
fluky
gold.
Olympic
This is
champions.
enough of this.
Yeah, everybody gets food poisoning, and you walk your way through with 4 forfeits to the gold medal.
Tyler literally said, if you only won the Olympics and never Worlds, you are a fluke Olympic champion.
That's what he said.
I'd say that.
Said
your
a
definition, 'cause-
fraudulent, illegitimate
No.
gold
But
medal.
you couldn't back it up that you were the best in the world.
You'd show him your gold, and he'd be like, fluke.
Is there any world champion number where it would take to surpass
Like
winning?
I don't think so.
20.
No,
Just
I really don't think there would be.
I don't know. You hit double digit Olympic or
You
world
can
champion.
never do it at the Olympics.
Yeah, but
Is,
you do DNP at the Olympics.
what was Besic? Wasn't he 3 golds and 1 Olympic silver?
He lost too. He had a bronze in there. I can't remember if it was world or Olympic.
But I think he never won an Olympic gold.
He did not. He did not. win
But
Olympic
he
gold.
had like at least 3 world golds.
Pull that up for us, bro.
Budakov.
I'm looking it up.
I could maybe see
And then
if-
tragically,
that there could be a number if there was a guy who's just like such a tweener that he could never fully make it happen at a different
Right.
weight.
Yeah. Now it's different too with the only 6 Olympic weights. It's definitely more of a possibility for some of these guys to rattle off a handful of world titles and no Olympics.
Bezek Kudakov. Let's see. Silver, 2006. He was gold in 7.
He got upset.
Bronze in 8. Gold in 9. Gold in 10. Gold 11. Silver in.
yeah,
in,
2 Olympic
Bronze and
medals.
silver.
Yep.
I think was it Haji Aliyev also never won an Olympic gold. Oh, Maria Stadnik is probably.
Also, if you're a 4-time world champ, like if you're like Dake, 4-time world champ plus you got a couple bronzes in there.
Yeah.
I would still take that over just the 1 Olympic gold.
I would take a legendary career where I'm one of the best American wrestlers in history.
I would take that where I'm 3 or 4-time world champ and I get 1 or 2 Olympic bronze or silvers.
Yeah. Give me that.
But that's not the scenario, right? It's
No.
you
Champ.
can't DMP at Olympics.
You're not allowed to put no medals.
If you have the
medals at
world
all?
titles, you're not allowed any Olympics or any medals at the Olympics.
It's not specified in the text.
Yeah, it's not specified.
I'm specifying it right now.
All right.
Okay, Mr.
All right. Next, would you rather 4-time state champion or Fargo champion?
Well, this is easy for a state like New Jersey where it's 1 class. It's 4-time state champ. Like I'm like having never go like if you never go to Fargo but you win 4 New Jersey state championships, not even a question.
It's really state dependent to me.
Yeah.
It is very state dependent.
So like if you have a lot of classes, it's like, oh, I'm 4-time Virginia class 6B or whatever.
Well, even for Iowa, see, when I was thinking about this, I wrestled for all the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Like they say, do it to be the best at wrestling, intrinsic, whatever, yada yada yada.
You say that?
Well, then yeah, you would want to win a Fargo because I mean if it's a more prestigious tournament. It's a tougher tournament, it's a national tournament than a state of Iowa state title. But everybody knows you're a legend in the state of Iowa, like in your community, when you win a state title.
Ain't no cheerleader showing up to your Fargo match.
That's right. It's your parents and Team Iowa, the rest of Team Iowa. But the whole entire Wells Fargo arena is cheering you on when you win it.
Why is that the wrong reasons? It seems like the right reasons to me.
I don't. Well, apparently you're supposed to it's not about the awards and the shine and
Well,
whatever.
It's a little bit about that.
It depends. I mean, I think it really does.
The girl next in the town over doesn't know I won a Fargo title.
Yeah, you go to the mall and if people see your letter jacket with the state championships on it, that's a little bit more of a big deal than here's my Fargo plaque.
I would have even rather been like a 1 or 2-time state champ than a Fargo champ.
I would have been. I much rather would have rather have been a New Jersey place winner than a Fargo champ. But that's just me.
JD sometimes
That's
wears
crazy.
his letter jacket out to the bars when we go out. It's a lot of play.
That's not true, but Spay has worn his Letterman's jacket here in not this studio, but our old studio.
Yeah, I could bust it out. I still got it in my closet.
Hell yeah.
No big deal.
I got a letter
Still have
jacket.
mine.
I should. Yeah, I should. We should do a
Should
letter.
we have a
Letterman jacket day?
And then bully all the nerds out there? Just knock their laptops out of their hands as they walk down the hall.
But this is extremely state dependent, and also I think it has so much to do with the role wrestling is going to play in your life moving forward. Because I mean, if you want to go wrestle D1 and be good, and you're from a small state, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're a small state 4-time state champ. That might not get you even on a single Division I coach's radar. If you in Fargo, like you're moving on, like you're going, that's your path to D1 college wrestling right there. So,
That's a good point.
but if you're somebody that's from a small state, you want to stay in that state, you want to have, coaching credentials at the high school level and whatever. Yeah, take those 4 titles. But if you really want to get as good as you can, come on, you got to go Fargo.
I think, yeah, that's a good point of like what your ultimate goals are. And if it's D1 and a long career in wrestling. But for me, it was, man, I just want to actually make it to the state championships in Atlantic City. And I never did. So I'd rather have actually just had that experience rather like I never regretted like not even trying to go make the Fargo team for Jersey. It was also a long time ago. This is the Stone Age. So
It's kind of, for me, it was like
1990s.
same thing of like Olympic champion or 4-time world champion. 4-time world champion, like you honestly are probably a better wrestler than the 1-time Olympic champion. You had some
Are you
sustainability.
calling the Olympic champion a fluke?
No, you did. But
that's the Tyler take. Yes. We'll all
you were
associate
able
him with
you were
that.
able to do it, and we'll probably get more respect in the wrestling community. But you can't walk down the street with your 4 world titles and get the respect of a random stranger like you can with your Olympic gold medal. Just like in the state of Iowa, you go walking down with your 4 state wrestling gold medals. That's respect. But you go, look at my Fargo stop
Go to
sign.
any Casey's in the
That's
state.
right. That's right. You're gonna you're gonna be on like your newspapers. You're gonna be on the local news in the state of Iowa. But only the real wrestlers know when you win Fargo.
I would make my Fargo stop sign into a WWE belt and just wear
Has
it around.
one heavy belt.
Throw it on my shoulder.
Okay.
Tyler, 1 California state title or 1 Fargo title?
Ooh,
That's single class.
Fargo title.
What?
Yeah.
Over Cali?
One title.
Do people not respect state championships in California?
People love. It's a very big deal. But dude, I mean, I'm just thinking about what Bray said. Like, it is a bigger deal if you're going 1-to-1. Like, what's a bigger deal? Fargo.
Yeah.
Same with the state of Iowa, but I want all the glory.
Yeah. If you're a glory hound, but that's kind of the thing too, is like if you're second at Fargo and you lose to another guy who's an absolute stud, like you're still going to be able to get those looks and have that recruiting experience. And in a state like California, if you win a state California title,
Win it in front of more people in California. Rabobank Arena is usually sold out for the state finals.
and and Fargo is still 90-some%.
Did you say robbing banks arena?
Yep, that's what it's called.
Wow.
No, it's called
Robbo?
Rabobank Arena.
Rob A. Bank,
Robobank?
Rob A. Bank Arena.
That we used to make that joke in high school. Yep, but
Well,
it's-
now
it's
you do it as an
Rabobank
adult.
Arena.
I think I can help with this pan dilemma. All right.
What else you got?
I don't know. Let's go with this one. Double leg by Jordan Burroughs, reverse lifted by Corellin.
Would you have rather have read that immediately and not have read the fact that you did the same? Would you rather twice on this list?
Yes.
I guess the next one on here is multiple time champion or Olympic champion. I feel like we just beat that one to death.
Yes.
Okay.
I personally would rather be tossed into the air and able to land myself somewhat safely than get one of the hardest skulls of all time crashed into my chest.
Corellin doesn't just like throw you up in the air and like let you go. He kind of slams you down.
He throws me up in the air and then I float down onto
Reverse
a
lift.
bed of pillows.
First lift, you kind of go like with it, It's like it's momentum. As a skateboarder, I fall off my skateboard a lot of time. I roll into it. Kind of same thing with reverse lift. No, yes,
How often are you falling off your skateboard?
all the time. It's embarrassing.
I saw it happen
I've seen that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, going to the garage. The Burroughs double is all about whether like I'm in a low stance to defend, so that he has to go through my own head or chin or face.
Which is most of the time.
I don't know most, but a lot
of the
of the time, you see it, and I don't want that. I would rather just kind of be like, "Oh, you got me," and then just like belly out, or just go to my back. I don't care.
I'm gonna try to find you a visual example, Tyler, in just a second here.
All right.
Of a Corell and reverse lift.
You might change my mind.
Yeah, you're risking
I look
paralysis.
this very legal.
Wow, look at
1989 World Championship footage on our website.
yeah,
It's not illegal.
Bray going to the vault.
No, we got it from USA Wrestling
Oh,
back
that's
during
right.
COVID. Yeah.
I remember I might have commentaried on this.
Yeah, it might be the what was it called? The Legends. or
Legends
whatever?
series.
Legends re-legend.
Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna get to it here eventually. I'm just skipping forward. What was that? One of them?
What? That's why they call me Experiment. Look at that. Just not.
Oh yeah. People would literally just like run away from this guy. Here, I'm just fast forwarding. Oh, here we go. I don't know if I got a reverse
get
lift
it?
in here.
That's
Feel
a
about the
regular-
yellow pants on these officials.
Bring him back.
or the yellow mats. Gross.
I kind of like the red,
It's
yellow.
not a
and
reverse
whites.
lift.
Yeah.
Standard lift.
Look, he's just gonna go.
Oh, that's not the reverse lift. Oh, here we
Look
go.
at him lying
Oh, he
down.
does
Here's a go. Here's a go. Here's the reverse.
Let's see how this one goes.
What you got for me?
Okay.
Oh, he's dead, dude.
Okay.
And then you get teabagged.
All right, look at this.
Oh.
I honestly think I would rather take that.
Would you rather reverse lift by Corellin and end up in that north-south position, or get the what is it, the armbar by Marinelli, where he then scoops your head in the
Yeah.
it gives you a leg half and then figure fours your head and then pins you that way?
Look at this. This man, he thought he was
To
paralyzed.
me, it felt like he hit his shoulders more than his head.
I don't know, but look.
He had his bell rung.
Imagine it's
son.
Imagine it's 1 degree different. You know.
True.
If Burroughs is just going through my chest, I mean, that would,
He does go through your face sometimes.
He
too.
goes through
As-
your face sometimes.
as long as he doesn't go through my face, I'm taking the double.
Okay.
I think I'm getting reverse lift.
But you couldn't get that low in a stance. I don't know. I was making fun of how old you are.
Nailed me.
It's better to get doubled with the high stance than.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
he's good.
You don't have to worry about it.
All right.
Yeah. Give me the double.
Christian's not here, so I have to make fun of someone for being old.
All right, last one.
Figure
Multiple time, or we'll say, world champion or NCAA champion.
Go ahead.
World champion or NCAA
Oh.
champion.
I think probably. Oof. Man.
World champ. Give me world champ.
World champ. Because that means you were, yeah. It means you were still like good in college.
What
You
about
got to do-
multiple time NCAA champ? Is there like a NCAA champ number, like 4-time NCAA
I'd rather
champion?
be a world champ.
I'd rather be a 4-time NCAA champion than a world champion.
Yeah.
Then you're in a club of what? What is it? 5 now? 6? 7?
What
I
about
think
3?
I'd rather be a world champ.
I'd rather be a 3-time NCAA champ than a world champion too.
Can we get to this one though? F?
Would you rather silence a hostile crowd or pump it up?
Don't you know?
You got to pump it up.
You didn't spell hostile. You wrote hostel, like
Staying at a hostel.
like a hotel for
hostel?
youth. Yeah. So I'm just thinking of a crowd. Like you go to the local hostel, and be like, "What's up, guys?" Or you silence them.
no.
They're not at all hostile. They're just like hanging out on vacation, backpacking through some random city, and then you get them and you either silence them or you bump them up.
I think I would. So you're saying silence a hostile crowd?
Like, would you rather be?
or pump up your home crowd?
Yeah, like, would you rather like wrestle for Iowa
Oh my god.
or like go into Carver and silence them by beating the Hawkeye?
Oh, man.
Don't you know? Pump it.
I think I'd want to pump it up.
Yeah, I'd want to pump it up.
Pump it up.
You
Yeah.
gotta
yeah.
pump it up.
Like, I mean, it's been played more than it probably should, but Piccinini going nuts after he pinned Spencer in the Oklahoma. I mean, people still talk about that, that were in the arena. It's like that was the wildest wrestling moment. Mm-hmm. And to be the guy that causes that, better than the guy that shushes everybody. And then
I think Bo Nichols said he would rather, like, his favorite was like going into Carver though, and just pinning like Sammy Brooks.
yeah, was he in the midst of some trash talk
Maybe.
at that point? I mean, like, if you really like boiled it down and got the truth out of him, like, what did he actually enjoy more in the moment versus later when you're talking about it just to rile up Iowa
Right.
fans. But I don't know. I'm not second guessing Bo. If he says it, then I'll believe it. But
There are definitely some people out there. I've heard that take before. But like I said, I like the glory.
bring
Pump it up.
glory boy over
You
here.
got to pump it up.
You've got to.
That song, I remember when we played that song a lot at NCAAs because it was popping, that
Don't you
Pump It
know.
Up song. And then on the phone, it shows the lyrics and it's just over and over.
Yeah, when you pull it up on Spotify or whatever, the lyrics. That's Kekaisen's song, right?
He walked out to that.
It's his walkout song.
Although after his NCAA finals win, he did say that Dustin Plott had a better walkout song than
He
him.
was the Dukes of Hazzard, right?
Eastbound and Down.
That's pretty funny. It was like right after his interview, he was like, "You had a way better walkout song than me, though."
All right, let's get to questions.
All right. Jason Houseneck on Twitter wants to know, is this the last year we need to keep track of the free COVID year? Besides AJ, are there any more free year wrestlers?
I feel like there's got to be like one that started in 2021 and then can take a red shirt now. Like we're still talking about it with like, Shane Van Ness and stuff. So
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
gonna be some.
There's more.
Yeah,
there's more.
Sorry,
couple more years.
Demetrius
couple more.
Romero was in the NCAA for like 8 years without a
So you got to
COVID year.
think it's not going to be till like 2026.
And you never
because-
know. Like there could be a new like court case where it's like, guess what? NCAA has no rules anymore. Like you can stay in college forever.
Tyler can come back.
Tyler can get his final year.
I mean, go wrestle in that Minneapolis stadium.
you still had a year. You still had a year, I thought. Anyway,
I did have 2 years, but I graduated and was not on scholarship. So got to get out of there.
Didn't want to take out loans, huh?
Didn't. Sway said, AJ is at Cal Bakersfield. Angelo is at Iowa. What's going on with Anthony? Is he showing up anymore or decided school is not for him?
Yeah, I think he's training like MMA and
I
stuff.
think he's moved into the private sector.
Yes, private equity.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I got no idea.
I finally I made it on one of AJ's reels.
Oh
Yesterday.
yeah. He clipped that out.
It's only a matter of time before I have my own nickname.
That probably got more views than almost any other piece of content with your face on it. Anyway.
Probably.
Yeah, not anything that you've ever been part of, but
Yeah, he does numbies.
I think the clip that had the most JD on it was your voice when Christian Carroll popped his top.
Oh yeah,
You
they
said,
got
"Ooh,
millies.
we popping top. That had, yeah, millions.
Oh.
That was many millions.
Yeah.
People all over the world heard
think-
you say, "Oh, we popping top."
That video has like 20 million views on our YouTube shorts. Crazy.
It's good.
And
You
that
add it up with
was
Instagram.
The clip.
That was YouTube short numbers.
I will say AJ. I don't know if he was coming after me specifically or just used my clip of me talking, but
I don't think he was coming
It
after.
didn't seem like he was coming at you at all.
Yeah, he just wanted to know if people who among the audience could walk the streets of Bakersfield, California.
And I will say I could if I went there.
And I will say prove it.
I never have though, and at least for the immediate future, I will not be.
Now, all those
One
streets,
day I would walk the streets of Bakersfield though.
all those streets have like they're like doors almost that like close down, and they weigh 665 pounds, and you have to deadlift each one to go underneath to make it through that street. So
I would not be able to.
that's why AJ is the only one that can walk.
That's right.
It's the deadlift up.
Wait, what if he doesn't it just shut? Doesn't he have to get underneath the door?
Well, it takes
still?
an incredible amount of athleticism. It's not just a deadlift. That's what makes it even more difficult.
Okay.
What if an exercise ball appears? Tries
Yeah,
to
what if
stop
the
me?
sniper shows up and mows you all down? I don't know. There's a lot of ways that you could stop you from doing it.
Okay. The last question is from Scrappy on Twitter. He said, what do you think is the biggest storyline to follow in this upcoming wrestling season, and how might it impact the overall landscape of the sport?
To me, it's David Taylor and how he performs as the head coach of Oklahoma State. They're a really good team, so like, they're going to be good. But if he can really just kind of see how he excels in that role, and honestly, as long as he doesn't have a down year, and how that could change the landscape of the sport, if you want to talk about something like that, am I maybe more excited to see Parker Keckeisen versus Carter Storaci? Yes, more than any other Oklahoma State match, but in terms of one storyline that's kind of the biggest and could impact a sport, as this person put it, it's David Taylor.
I think that's the right call. My instinct was to say Carter going for his 5th because it's like obviously history would be made and no one could match it unless another court case happens. But I think you're absolutely right as far as like David, what could have the most long-term impact. I agree with you,
just
JD.
Giving fans who aren't Penn State fans hope of, breaking up this dynasty. I think a lot of fans are probably getting tired of watching Penn State win over and over again. For right or wrong, I'm indifferent. I like Cale Sanderson than any Lions, but if you're a hater of their success, this is a shining beacon for you.
I also think if David Taylor has a lot of success immediately, it might, it might change the appetite for, or increase the appetite for guys like Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake to get into coaching, and it might increase the appetite for athletic departments to put a guy in the head coaching role that has no coaching experience at the college level yet, or very little. Burroughs and Dake have, I think, both maybe a year or two of like being on staff, but that could be another huge impact of the David Taylor thing. I still think another storyline that could have a massive impact on the sport is going to be what happens with the NCAA ruling stuff, because a lot of different things could happen there. And if all of a sudden the roster cap stuff goes into place and is really strictly enforced, and if athletic departments are de-incentivized from having smaller sports or Olympic sports, things like that, that could have a massive impact on, not just wrestling, but all sports. But I don't know. It feels like there's so much that's still yet to be determined there that we don't know if it'll have a huge impact or very little impact. So
it's kind of like an NCAA thing overall, but for sure, the potential breakup of the NCAA tournament as we know it with the teams that we have, if the non-Power 5 or Ivies split off, or if you start getting 5 championships or whatever, that would be obviously groundbreaking.
I think David Taylor and Oklahoma State is a great answer for what's going to be the biggest story over the next 4 or 5 years. I think for just this upcoming season, it'll be important. People will be following it. That'll be a thing. But I think Carter is just doing a good job generating a lot of interest in what he's doing and making some social posts, again, for better or for worse. I think the number of eyeballs on what Carter does right now, that's going to be the thing that attracts, the hits, the numbers, the YouTube, the social media account. It's going to be what Carter does this year. Winning a 5th is a big part of that, but also just his personality kind of coming out and being the star of the season. And then, Penn State adds to that and what they can do. So that's my pick for like just this season, and then whatever else happens, of course. And I also think a big storyline could be is if women's wrestling gets sanctioned. It won't be until like 26 or 7, I think they were shooting for, but that ruling could come down this year. Wow. And then you'd have a whole nother, wrestling would get a whole new division and in the NCAA, which would be obviously huge, and hopefully brings in more teams. I know Oklahoma State just got Isaac Olenek to be the coach of the club team at Oklahoma State. Lehigh keeps getting recruits. Audrey Jimenez is there this fall. Aubrey Krazer is going there. Those are 2 schools with tons of wrestling history and an appetite for wrestling. So you could start seeing more Power 5s or big time programs, well-resourced programs, starting D1 programs on the women's side.
It's going to be a fun season. It's right around the corner, but it's time for us to go. We will talk more about that season come Monday, normal time. CP will be back. Thank you all for tuning in today. From all of us here in the studio, including our Megadeth Skelly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember his real name.
Vic Rattlehead, baby.
Vic Rattlehead, a.k.a. Skelly. We will see you all on Monday.